We're spoiled today. We've had presentations from the Amazon, from the Great Barrier Reef, and now from one of the other great icons in the world, the Galapagos. Our next speaker is Arturo Izurieta, who's the director of the Galapagos National Park in Ecuador. Izurieta has had 25 years of experience in conservation management with an emphasis on community and cultural involvement in management and in Latin America and here in Australia. So welcome, Arturo. I look forward to hearing him.
Thank you, Andrew. Good morning to all of you. I would like to first acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we meet here today. I live here in Australia for 10 years and I work with Aboriginal people, so I think I don't want to lose that particular acknowledgement to the first Australians. I became Australian too, by the way, so I'm an Aussie-Dorian. I would like to also introduce to you Daniel Rueda from the Direction of Ecosystems at the Galapagos National Park, and Sandra Chamorro, a colleague from WWF. The presentation I'm going to share with you today is about how we innovatively came with a management plan that united both different categories of protected areas in Galapagos, the Galapagos National Park, the terrestrial area, and the Galapagos Marine Reserve as a multiple use protected area. By the way, there's booklets and some memory sticks with the management plan in English version summarized at that table at the end if you want to pick some. The management plan that brings those both protected areas together, we think it's an innovative way of planning. The marine currents, the ocean that surrounds the archipelago determines pretty much the different ecosystems that are on land. And also in the coastal area, there's a lot of things that happens, functionality of ecosystems, mangroves ecosystems, and brings life to many species that live in the planet, and of course in the Galapagos sea waters. So in this process, we had an evaluation using the management effectiveness tool provided by IUCN, which we first tested in 1996. It was our first attempt, and then we polished it and we used it. We have used it various times, but for this time we used it for the marine and the terrestrial part. And then that provided us with the inputs to have the planning happening. And then because of the way the planning was happening, the zoning was prioritized as one of the first things that needed to be carried out after the plan itself was finished. You might be asking yourself, well, wouldn't be the zoning be considered first, reviewing the zoning and then inputting into the plan? The truth is that it wasn't done that way. We finished the plan with guidelines in the plan about the reviewing of the zoning scheme, and this is what we're doing at the moment. So communication and participation was a key element that cuts across all these different three segments of the planning, the information delivery. And information delivery, we heard about science, that's really important, that really was a big thing, but also the information coming from stakeholders. And we use the Galapagos social ecosystem as a principle. We used to plan based on protection of a species for many years, but now as ecosystem functionality, ecosystem services. And we introduced the well-being of the nature, but also the local communities that live on the islands. and this is a challenge. We've heard in this World Parks Congress about environmental services, you know, the concept that is getting stronger, and environmental limits, that's a challenge. And with science, we're trying to get what are those limits in order to come along with regulations for use. And some of the achievements, we really use a methodology that integrated the concept of marine and terrestrial into the whole operational aspects of the park, the objectives, and the values of those both protected areas, which are a World Heritage Area themselves. We generated a technical group, park staff, and also other colleagues from NGOs and other institutions to be part of that technical group that drove the process. And we had also the rangers, right on the ground, the ones that are there doing the hard job, integrated them into the different process that took place to come and have their ideas, what is that they thought about things could be done and be put in the plan. And also capacity building for administrators and rangers. We had to improve our capacity, put an officer specifically to have attention to the planning of and putting together the plan. Some of the achievements of the process, there were a core decision makers group that was made up of the mayors of the 3 municipalities, the representatives of directors of different institutions, government institutions, and leaders of different groups of the community. So they were pretty much briefed every 2-3 months as the technical group advanced with the planning. We had institutional commitments. The vision for Galapagos, for the Galapagos National Park protected areas were established, and there was a signed document that sustained the process. There were consensus about the objectives, the management programs, and the land model of that came about in the planning process, and that extended beyond the protected areas, extended towards the 3% of land mass that is not in the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Environment through the Park Service. And then the management plan itself was approved by the core decision makers, and then by a ministerial decree. It came out in July 2014. The management plan objectives identified in this process, ecosystem and biodiversity conservation, that's the main goal, and that's pretty much the key elements of both protected areas. Implementation of land management conservation policies, land and sea management, I would say, but the land management conservation policies cut across the protected area and also the inhabited areas, the urban and the agricultural areas in the 4 inhabited islands. Also the strengthening of the management capacity for the different directions within the national park. The participatory element is crucial. There is a way in which the plan states that there must be participation of the stakeholders in the different aspects for the management of the park and marine reserve. Technical and scientific knowledge we've talked about. We had to strengthen a direction that we don't do science. We support science, we administer science, we promote science. As park directorate, we head it that way. It's pretty complicated, it's pretty expensive, and we rather have the scientists helping us rather than us with our staff doing science. So that's the way we do it. And of course promote national and international cooperation, and local cooperation is crucial as well. This is an overview of the planning. Started with a shared vision signed and agreed by the local authorities. And then the concept of socio-ecosystem, where we have the ecological and social system, and then the identification of environmental services with the limits, which some of them a lot of them we don't have an idea what the limits are, but that's the challenge, and we use the precautionary concept to manage the islands. And that then we came about with the zoning, and the one that we are reviewing, but we identify the management programs that are listed here, that includes from conservation, science, community participation, and the other ones that support the administration, legal system, and so on. And then of course we have a adaptive management evaluation that feeds into the whole process, and it's expected to have every 3 years. Of course there's a constant accumulation of information, but every 3 years we're planning to do the evaluation, management effectiveness evaluation, and feedback into the planning. So it's been innovative and effective. We've contributed to the regional land management strategies for the whole archipelago. And we are already implementing the plan. It's a guideline to other strategic plans, like communication plan, the operational business plan, as it's called here. We're getting to work on the monitoring plan and financial sustainability strategy. The rezoning, we're working on it now, and this we are putting into knowledge to the Ecuadorian protected areas that they can use a similar model of planning. So components that lead to success, political compromise. This has been very strong, a validation process for all main regional and national governments, and we had a cooperation, external cooperation from WWF and other organizations like the Charles Darwin Foundation and other NGOs. And then enabling factors, we feel stronger. There's institutional strengthening, not only for the Galapagos National Park Directorate, but other institutions. The municipalities are getting stronger and getting to know a lot better what we're doing, and their support towards achieving conservation goals. Interinstitutional coordination and cooperation, we're following that. Various memorandums of understanding are on the way. Integrated planning for the whole archipelago. Financial sustainability, hopefully we'll get stronger with that in the next 6 months, with some analysis that we're already making, and a global understanding, not only Galapagos, but regional and global. So I'd like to click here on the picture to access video. It's a 40-second video, if you will allow me to. So that would be, where did I go? No. There it is. Could that be here? I thought I had put some pictures to show you some of the beauties of Galapagos, but I remember that I did that on this other presentation that is coming on Monday, so I apologize.
Aquí en Galápagos estamos unidos por una misma razón y un mismo sentimiento. Autoridades y habitantes de la mano, garantizando siempre el buen vivir. Desarrollemos un modelo para manejar y proteger por siempre nuestras islas. Tú y yo, Galápagos es un todo. Juntos bajo el sol,
plan de manejo de las áreas protegidas de Galápagos para el buen vivir.
You notice that there was a lot of people in this video. We are putting emphasis in working with the community. We had decades of pretty much centering in the tortoises, the landing ones, which we still do. But now we are starting to get more contact and programs with the local community. Get them to be park rangers. Thank you.